Hey students, this is lesson 6-2, estimate decimal quotients. Here is our learning goal. You can read it with me. I can use estimation to find quotients. You need your workbook and a pencil. Please pause and go get those things if you don't have them out right now. All right, here's our solvent share. A 135 8/10 foot piece of construction material needs to be cut into pieces that are each 16 feet long. About how many pieces can be cut? Solve this problem any way you choose. Okay, so one thing that you need to note here is that it says about, and so that is going to tell you that you can round and find compatible numbers to divide in order to solve the problem. So go ahead and pause here. You've got your 135 8/10 divided into pieces that are 16 feet long. Okay, let's go ahead and solve. So I think we could round our 135 8/10 to, what do we do? Well, a lot of times we'll start with our second one just to make that a little bit easier. And so 16, that's pretty close to 20. And so then I want to have a number here at the start of it that 2 would go into evenly. So I think that's pretty close to 140. And so you can think back and remember how 140 over 20, this is actually means division. 140 divided by 20, even though it's a fraction and division go hand in hand. So if I simplify this down by dividing by 10 on the top and 10 on the bottom, I get 14 over 2. And so the way that I can do that shorthand right here is just cross out my 0. So what I'm doing here is dividing both my dividend and my divisor by 10. I'm going to get the same answer as if I would have just done 140 divided by 20, but I can do this a little bit easier in my head. So 14 divided by 2, well, that's 7. So about 7 pieces is my answer. Okay, let's go ahead and talk through our visual learning bridge. Make sure you follow along. Okay, Diego borrowed money from his grandparents to purchase a video gaming system for $473.89, including tax. About how much are his monthly payments to his parents if he wants to pay this off in 1 year? Well, so that's my total amount. And you have to think, well, how many months are in a year? 12. So then he's going to split that total amount up over 12 months. So one way we can do it is to use rounding. So rounding to the nearest 10, they rounded $473.89 to about 470. And then they rounded 12 down to 10. And so then they're taking 470 divided by 10 is about $47 a month. So another way they did it is with compatible numbers. So they're use compatible numbers, so look for compatible numbers. They left this as 12, and then they looked at the first two numbers, what is 47 close to that 12 would go into? And so this would be a time you could look at your multiplication chart, look at your 12s column. Okay, well, I know 12 goes into 48 evenly, so they rounded the 473 up to 480. And then they know, well, 48 divided by 12 is 4, and then they took that 0, tacked it on at the end. So each monthly payment is about $40. So we know it's going to be somewhere around our $40 or $47. He's probably got to figure out the exact amount then. I don't know that his parents would want him paying part of it. Okay, so then we are going to use estimation to or compatible numbers to solve through these problems. So we have 42 divided by 6 8/10. Well, you know, I always like to round my the numbers that we've had typically smaller first. So looking at my divisor over here, 6 8/10, well, that's awfully close to 7. So then if I look at 42, I can ask myself, does 7 go into 42 evenly? Yes, it does. So I'm going to leave my 42 alone. And if I do 42 divided by 7, I'll get 6. Okay, for number 4, my 9 6/10, well, that's very close to 10. And that's an easy number to work with. 102, I want 10 to be able to go into my dividend evenly. So I'm gonna round 102 down to 100. And if I did 100 divided by 10, I get 10. Alrighty, number 5. We have 48 and 9/10 divided by 4. So I think we could round 4 to 5. And then what number is 48 close to that 5 would go into evenly? Well, I know if it ends in a 0 or a 5, then 5 will go into it. So I could pick 50. 50 divided by 5 is going to be 10. Yep, we've done the same thing so far. Oh, and you know, I could have left this 4 and left this at 48, and I would have gotten 12. So 12 and 10, really close. You can round a little bit differently or find compatible numbers a little bit differently than what your neighbor might do, what somebody else in the classroom might do, and that's okay. As long as our estimations are pretty close, then you know you have a good guess. This one, we have 72 and 59/100 divided by 7. So I think we could leave this 7, honestly, round that down to 70. 70 divided by 7 is 10. The whole point of rounding here is to try to make it a problem that you can do in your head, that you can do with a multiplication chart pretty quickly and simply. Okay, let's go ahead and try this one. I have 1 and 9/10 as my divisor. My dividend is 15 and 4/10. So I would probably round that to 2. And then if I'm looking at 15, I want it to be a number that I can divide by 2 or cut in half easily. And so that's going to have to be an even number, a number that ends in a 2, 4, 6, or 8. So I'm going to round 15 and 4/10 to 16. And if I do 16 divided by 2, I get 8. Okay, I want you to try number 8. We have 44 and 7/100 divided by 6 and 3/10. So I decide, what are you going to do with your 6 and 3/10 first, and then make that number match as close as you can to a compatible number to divide. Okay, we'll talk about it in group.